Hello, my name is Peyton. I work at the Lethbridge Public Library and I am doing a video today for In Stitches. In Stitches and Saturday Stitching are two programs we run Tuesdays at the main branch at 1 and Saturdays at the crossings also at 1. And so with stitching, crafting is part of what we do. And so today I'm going to do another video for the fox quilt that I'm currently working on. And today we're going to learn how to do applique. And applique is the process of getting one material glued essentially onto another material. So today I'm going to do the noses. And so when it's done, it's going to look a little something like this. These are the eyes. I did them beforehand just to make sure everything would go well. So when they're done, they stick on with the applique material, and then I sewed around the edges, which I will show you how to do as well. So that's the finished project, one eye. And today we're going to do the noses. So the first thing you need your material. So again, this is the triangle I will be using for the triangle quilt. And my little noses are already cut out here. I then have cut out a piece of the applique bond. Now this one doesn't specifically say applique. This one was one I just got not at a sewing store, which is probably why the instructions aren't perfect when I tested it out. I do find if you go directly to a sewing store or a place that specializes in crafting, you tend to get better materials and they're more reliable, and the staff is a lot more helpful too. There was a patron in the store who told me this worked well, and it does. You just can't follow the directions to a T. So what you would do is, because each product is different, although the applique process is the same, you do want to follow the instructions on the one you purchase. So this one, the instructions say to hold it down for 1 to 2 seconds. I found I needed to hold it down for almost 5 minutes. And that could also partially be because of my iron. But yeah, the 1 to 2 seconds definitely did not work. So we're going to change it up a little bit. So there's two ways to do this. According to the applique instructions I went by, you have your design, and then you wouldn't cut it out first. You would actually put it on the applique and then meld it and then cut it out. So I'm doing it in a little bit of a different order, which is okay. It worked fine when I did the practice, so should work okay now. The iron setting, according to the instructions for the applique, is on satin. So it's on really low. Like, it's on a really low setting here, just on satin. Like, I put my hand in front of the iron and I barely feel any heat. So I think that might be why I need more than 1 to 2 minutes, but hey, c'est la vie. So with the bonding material, what we're going to do is, there is a sticky, gritty textured side, and then there's the smooth paper side. I'm going to put the smooth paper side up. But because I cut out my circles, if I were to put this on directly onto my ironing board like this, it would then stick to the fabric on my ironing board. If I were to put it on a cloth, it would stick to the cloth. So I'm going to actually use wax paper. And again, I did do this as a test and it worked fine. So let's hope it works fine again, because it doesn't stick to the wax paper, which is nice. Then I'm going to line up my little noses here. And it says to do it about a 1/2 inch apart. I think that's just to make cutting it out a little easier. And this is pretty see-through. So when I line it up, I can actually see, and you can see on the video here, you can see my dots underneath. So I know where they are, and I can actually line them up. Spread them out, I should say, a little bit more. That's there. put this down, and then you just put your iron over top. Now, like I said, these took a long time yesterday, and half of them didn't even like stick. So what I'm gonna do, and what you're not supposed to do, is I'm just gonna leave my iron like this. And I did that when I did my practice, and it actually worked out quite well. I'm not timing it. I'm going by feel. What I did during the practice was I would leave it. So I did this first step, and it didn't work out 100%. So I just put them on the eyes. Oh, where's my eye? I put them on top of the eyes, and then I had all my eyes lying down. Put the wax paper on top of the eyes, and then I put the iron on to let them go. And I did it a pair of eyes at a time. So I put them on top of the eyes, and then once I was done one pair, I moved the iron to the next pair. Then I would sew the border on my sewing machine, and then come back, move the iron to the next pair, sew that pair, move the iron to the next pair, sew that pair. So it was like a good, like, 4 to 6 minutes that the iron was staying on each of them. And again, that's just because it didn't work yesterday, or when I tested it. And even today, it's kind of being a little finicky, but we're gonna do the best. You can kind of see in the bottom of the screen. So when I lift it up, they should be staying on because they should be sticking, but you can see like it's not perfect. It's kind of coming off there a little bit, which is a bummer. This is the time-consuming part. I'll mention, when you sew these, there's going to be a 1/4 inch, on mine anyways, there's a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So for the eyes, what I did was I didn't want to center them. I kind of wanted them a little bit higher up. This one's more in the center than some of my other ones. So that the eyes are here, higher up, and then the nose is lower down. So when I put on the nose, so on the quilt, the nose is going to go right beside it, like that. And so on the nose, I want the nose quite low down. But you have to remember your seam allowances. So you have to remember that when you sew it, you're going to lose a 1/4 inch. And so if I sew it too high, it'll actually be right on the edge. And you can see in my practice, the eyes are a little higher than the nose. So that's kind of what I'm going for. They're almost center, but not quite. All right. Put it on some more here. Ew, that one's better. You can tell because the glue's like mostly melted, so it's actually sticking to the wax paper, which is what I want. Like, that's why I have the wax paper, so that it sticks to wax paper. So there's a little bit of glue residue. Yeah, those are like almost completely flat compared to those ones. I'm just actually gonna let my iron do its thing, and while it's doing its thing, cut that off. I cut them into little bits just to make it easier, so I'm cutting one at a time. And we're just gonna cut out our shape. For the fox quilt, the eyes, I wanted the eyes to be bigger than the nose. Just by a little bit. Let me finish cutting this one out so I can show you. Where's my eye? So this is the eye, this is the nose, and you can see like this one also has the edge shown on it, so it looks a little bigger than it is. But I wanted the eyes bigger than the nose. And so what I did was I used a toonie, and I folded some leftover black fabric into 1/4 so that I had it 4 high for the width. And then I just held it down with my finger and cut around it. And so the eyes are toonies and the noses are quarters. And they're not anywhere near perfect circles. Like if you look at this, that's not a perfect circle. It's got some rough edges and stuff. But when you do the border, and you can see this isn't a perfect circle either. It has a little bit of bumps. It's a little flatter on this side, has that little sticky up part here. It actually doesn't look half bad. And when I go far away, you can hardly notice. So yeah, your shape doesn't have to be perfect, because when you do the, when you sew it around the edge, it kind of fixes all the flaws, which is nice, because it's nice to have flaw fixers in our repertoire. So there's half my eyes. Let's see how this is doing. Beauty! All right, and we still need the iron on, so I'm just gonna set it over there. And let's cut out, form our eyes. Now, I mentioned several times now, I've sewed around the edges of my circles, and part of that is because I really don't trust this material. Like, as I mentioned, I've been having problems with it being a good adhesive, and when I did my practice and I was doing the edges on the circles, by the time I had 16 eyes and I have 8 noses, and by the like 13th or 14th eye, the adhesive was becoming undone because they had been sitting for a while. And I was like, well, that's not right, because when you do applique, you don't have to actually sew around the eyes. Like that's an option. And so I was surprised that, well, I shouldn't say surprised, because it had been laying me down this whole time. But I was disappointed that the ones that were relatively well adhesived, were not staying stuck. So because I'm doing the sewing, they now won't move because they're sewed on there. So now I have on my noses. What do I do? Hold on, I need to double check the pattern. Make sure I know which way my triangle is going, so my noses are going pointed up. So I know I want my noses lower. So I'm just gonna lay out my triangles here. Like this. And this is just an organizational thing, because I want it to look pretty and make sure that I get them all relatively uniform, keeping in mind that there will be a 1/4 inch allowance. And just wanna, not gonna make y'all wait for me as I painstakingly try to peel off the back. Because now what we do is, this is our paper layer, right? So the glue inside has stuck, so you have to peel back the paper layer. And some of them, that one wasn't so bad, pretty easy. So I'm putting it about there, and you can see like it's not gonna stick yet because I have to do the ironing part. So let me get 2 so I can get the iron on the go. I'm just gonna, there it is. All right. I cut my nails recently and they haven't grown back quite yet, so I have to use handy dandy tweezers to pull back, which I do recommend. So for these ones, I'm gonna go here, and because some of them, when I cut it out, like it has a little bit of a lip on it, and I don't want the glue sticking to the iron, I'm gonna grab my handy dandy wax paper here and put it over top, plunk, and now I have it sitting there. I'll do another one a little where the iron's further away from the screen so you can see it a little better. So let's try to peel here. And the trick, like the problem I had, because when I tested it, they weren't sticking so well, was that when I tried to peel it, the adhesive wouldn't separate from the backing. You have to be extra careful that you're just pulling off the backing and not the adhesive as well. If it's done right, it should be relatively smooth. Should. The other problem I had because they weren't working was that the adhesive, even when I got it separated, would just come off the fabric. And so then there'd be nothing stuck to it. And what I did was I just put the 2 circles down on my eye. And then when I did the second round of the iron, I took the, I just did the iron for longer. And so, come on. And that seemed to work, just doing the iron a little bit longer. Sorry, there's so much focus in this. Just trying really hard not to yell at the fabric. Wait, there we go. There's our opening. They're opening, come on. Alright. I'll do 2 more and that should be enough time for the iron to do its job. Hopefully. And again, if there's any other techniques, see it just did it where the adhesive is. I'll try to show you. The adhesive is just not even sticking to the fabric because I did not buy this at a sewing store. See, look at that. Whole thing just came off. But that's okay. I'm gonna do what I did the other night. Peel it off, line it up, flip it over, and put the iron on for longer. Because I just need it to stay still long enough for me to sew the edges. So I'm going to put these right here. So see, I line it, and I overlap my triangles just so more of the iron can cover it. Put on the wax paper, set down my iron, and hope. So these are the ones that just got iron, and they look like they're staying. But I can tell you, like, that they're not 110%. So we're going to sew around the edges, which I will show you in a moment. So while I painstakingly try to peel the last 3 eyes and get these all set, we'll take a little break, and I will stop this video and move on to the sewing one afterwards. All right. So yeah, if there's any other projects you want to see, any questions or any advice you have, please comment below. Anything else you just want to say, if you just want to say hi, please comment below. Again, my name is Peyton. I'm with the Lethbridge Public Library, and this is for In Stitches and Saturday Stitching.